Hey guys, we just landed here in Seattle, Washington, our beautiful North Point, Washington facility. First of all, we just want to say thanks for joining us on this journey. Anything you want to say real quick, Big John?
Appreciate the support, and we got a lot of great episodes coming your way, so be sure to check them out, show us some love on all the different media platforms, YouTube, podcasts, all that good stuff.
Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes.
Absolutely.
Next few episodes are going to be showcasing our amazing North Point, Washington staff, as well as some of the alumni that have graduated from this facility, as well as North Point, Idaho, that live in the Washington State area.
Yeah, it's going to be a real good time,
guys. Welcome to No Way But North, where we talk about the miracles of recovery and the tools used to achieve them. My name is Cooper Lyons. My clean date is November 27th, 2010. And as always, I'm joined by the big man himself, Big John Meldrum.
As always sounds so much better as not as always.
Well, I mean, you actually showed up for a few episodes, so now I can say
17 in a row.
Not quite. Not yet. But we're getting there.
You know what I'm saying, Alex? You feel me, bro?
I feel you.
How you doing over there, man? We don't ask you how you're doing. How are you doing? How's the producer doing?
We'll talk about this later. It's okay.
He got uncomfortable.
Did you
He's
get
not
uncomfortable?
used to being
It's not about
recorded.
me, though.
I know, but I just want to show you some love, brother.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Yeah. No, things are good, man. We're just cranking these babies out.
And happy to be here. Still in Washington.
Still in Washington. Still hanging out.
All right, guys. Well, once again, we got Darren here with us. We appreciate you taking 2 hours out of your Sunday to be here and talk with us about recovery and tools used to achieve them.
Good deal.
So, your story was pretty incredible, and we also know that you're a pretty incredible counselor. So we're excited to kind of hear your perspective on today's topic, and hopefully it'll help somebody that's either going through treatment or working in the addiction treatment industry as well right now. So
Cool.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
all right, so this quote is even deeper than the last one we had with you, which was kindness is the light that dissolves all walls between souls, families, and nations.
Say the name.
Oh my gosh.
Say the name. Say the name.
Paramahansa?
Nope.
Do you even know?
No.
Yogananda.
Hansa
Yoganananda. I don't know why. Why is the date there? Is that like a...
A lot of times,
1893 to
yeah,
1952.
Yeah, you kind of give their life.
that's okay. That's their
in case
life
there's another
person with that name.
Hansa Yogandandini.
That's an impressive name. So, there's a lot to unpack in that quote. So why did you pick that quote? Didn't need to look at it again.
He was like, "No, I was just
Probably.
scrolling through," and I was like, "Boom, that one looks real deep."
Yeah, I just threw the darts and closed my eyes. No, because when I look at how I interact with clients, I feel like this just speaks more to what I do. I would rather show somebody that I care. I think there's another saying I probably could have used it. People don't care what you know until they know how much you care. And
I like that one too. Yeah.
So I think that I would rather be, treat somebody with kindness and love, maybe sometimes for the first time, but meet them where they're at. And I would rather shine a huge spotlight on something somebody's done well rather than point out something they've done wrong.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
People did that my whole life. It didn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Well, I think that's probably pretty necessary in being a counselor.
Yeah.
Right. And even when you do point out something that didn't work, you have to do it with kindness.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I think I would rather, even if somebody's doing everything for me and it's in my best interest, if they do it with spite or disdain or superiority in their voice, I don't want it. And I won't appreciate it at least until years later, and I've had a lot of distance from that person. So kindness, trust is kind of kindness is where trust can start to be built. And I think that, like you said, that's going to go a whole lot further than doing anything critically.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, the quote is, because I know you didn't hear it the first time.
Shh, my child. Hold on. Stop.
Are you not going to make me read it twice?
Just be nice to people. Goes a long way.
Wow. You didn't make me. Is that you being nice to me?
Yeah.
I'll take it. You know what? I'll take it. You didn't make me read the name twice. Didn't make me read the quote twice. That is the greatest gift I've gotten all day.
Don't get used to it.
Fair enough. All right, so we're talking about trust and isolation. When we're kind of going through your prep questions, and we were kind of chatting about this a little bit back and forth in email, we talked about how isolation is necessary in addiction. It almost doesn't exist without isolation, whether that's emotional or actual physical isolation. And we also kind of touched on, at least in the fact that trust is kind of the solution to that, that we can start to break up that isolation and have the ability for somebody to move out of that isolation if they actually trust somebody. So let's just start with talking about what isolation is. How does it play into the role or what role does it play in addiction? How does it feed addiction? Those kinds of things.
Yeah. There's so much coming to my brain about that. I'm not sure where to start. I think that, one, isolation is just, the intention of being alone, being alone intentionally, pulling ourselves from people. And we can do that mentally. We can do that physically. I mean, how many times have we heard somebody talk about feeling alone in a room full of people?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I can isolate just as easily in a room full of people as I can being by myself and sequestered from society. So that's one aspect. But I think the other is that myself as an addict, as a person with low self-esteem, as a person with trauma issues, as a person with self-worth stuff, I will consistently isolate myself from others despite what they tell me, even sometimes. And so I talked in the last segment about that that 5-year-old voice that tells me I'm not good enough, that I don't belong, and all that stuff. The danger of isolation is that's the only voice I get to hear. And I have nothing, I can only filter my life through my own life experiences. And if I don't have somebody else to bounce those things off of, then I'm not going to get any different perspective, and I'm stuck with that one.
Or even if you're isolating in that room full of people and you're not willing to listen to what somebody's saying because you don't trust them, then that's all you're going to hear, all that's going to get through, at least.
Yeah, for sure.
And does that reflect in your experience as well?
Yeah, I mean, isolation is such an easy behavior to engage in because, it's so under the radar and people can do it so easily without anybody else really knowing why they're really isolating. We could be in this room right now, all 4 of us, and I could literally just be sitting here, just isolating, going through this internal turmoil that nobody else can see, but I'm just sitting here with this blank slate and be like, yeah, I'm good. Yeah. Oh, you're not your normal self. Oh, yeah, I'm just
tired today.
Yeah, I'm just tired.
Yeah.
But I think that's so easy because, when you start talking about addiction and the reason why addicts, isolation becomes so prevalent is because, I believe it's that internal conflict between right and wrong, right? Guilt and shame. You have, it's easier for them to engage in kind of that self-pity and kind of that justification for why use is available. Well, people don't want to be around me because, I'm a piece of shit or I'm a terrible person. So I might as well just spend time by myself, which then makes it easier because I don't have to answer to anybody at all. Right. And so when you got to get stuck in that stinking thinking, right? Clinical term, right?
I hated that.
I really hate stinking thinking because it sounds so childish. Yeah. But it's true. When you get stuck in that negative thought process, it's just, that's what keeps people down, holds people down, and just pulls other people down around them as well.
Well, and I think for me, even when in late recovery, it's really a slippery slope for me because sometimes for me, I'm an introvert by nature. Don't get me wrong, I like being around people, but I get energy and I recoup from being alone or being with a very few.
Recoup, yeah. I'm glad we were both right there. I was just waiting for him to finish.
I didn't even mean
no,
to
it's
do
okay,
that.
Coop.
I pulled the trigger. Yeah.
You did. I was waiting for him to stop talking, but he got me to it. I like it.
But so it's really easy for me to blur that line between self-care and isolation.
Yeah.
So I really need people around that I trust to either call me on it or make that effort and reach out to me first. I've built those people around me. I trust them to either check in with me or say, hey, let's go get some dinner, or even just shoot me a text, and that can kind of pull me out of it or make me more aware that I'm leaning more towards isolation.
Yeah.
So and I think the harms, I don't know if we really need to touch on that, but it's pretty obvious. Like we've talked about it. If you're alone, you're not able to, that 5-year-old voice is the only one you hear. That negative self-talking is the only one you hear.
Well, and I think that every time I keep a secret, I tell a lie, any of that stuff, every time I do that, I don't talk about how I'm really doing. I'm keeping everybody else at arm's length, right? Mm-hmm. And I continue to do that, and I find myself out on an island away from the mainland, and I think they've all left me, right? When I realize I've pushed myself, away from the shore.
Or on the flip side of that, it allows me to keep using.
That certainly, that's when I am using, it's a protection thing for sure. Mm-hmm. But I also, I create this representative, my little sock puppet of how I'm doing, right? And everybody's got a relationship with my sock puppet, with my representative. Nobody has a relationship with me, and I think internally, unconsciously, I know that this person doesn't have a relationship with me. Yeah, they've got a relationship with this make-believe creature that I created based on what I think that they want me to be, and I know that I'm not those things, right?
And then shame starts to build.
So then I feel alone. I can't feel that connection.
Have you ever seen that movie, The Beaver?
No.
You've ever seen it? It is such just purely based off. No, it's a brilliant movie. It's got Mel Gibson on it. And he is struggling with mental health really bad and depression, anxiety, and he's becoming alcohol. He's losing. And he finds this, and he's the head of a toy company. And he finds this puppet that's a beaver and puts it on his hand. And he doesn't take it off. But, like, that becomes his representation. Like, anytime people want to talk to him, they have to talk to the puppet. They can no longer talk directly to him. And it's just like, and so like him getting out of this, like, because he isolates from his family and everybody
through the puppet,
and like, but like you have to talk. And this beaver
is
has
it a comedy?
It's like kind of. It's kind of like a drama
Dramedy?
type, yeah. Huh. But just like hearing you talk about that is like a perfect representation of it.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to check. That actually sounds like a really good.
It's really good. I remember when it came out. It came out like 6 or 7 years ago. But I remember watching it, and I was just like he'd be in a boardroom meeting, and he would be literally like sitting here talking like this and looking like this, and people wouldn't. And then like he would get so mad because people would like trying to like talk to him, and he couldn't do it. He just isolated from everybody.
Wow,
else.
Interesting. Well, and that's exactly kind of what people do in isolation, right? With that fake representative, like your real self never talks to anybody.
Yeah, and the other obvious harm is obviously if I've, when we build walls. I built these huge walls to protect myself and keep anything from being able to come in and hurt me. But those walls also keep anything from being able to come in and help me too, right? And so nobody knows that I'm in trouble.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is going to kind of blur together, I guess. What is the importance of trust when it comes to that? Other than, I mean, I also feel like we've touched on that. But then how do you, once somebody does trust you, how do you address the isolation, right? Because how do you even know when somebody just, has that blank slate and they're saying, oh, no, I'm just tired today. Mm-hmm. How do we go about addressing that after building the trust and, continuing to build that trust?
Go ahead.
I think that when you're thinking about this idea of trust, what comes to my mind is like sometimes I think we think of it from like just like a one-on-one type of thing, but like both parties have to trust each other, right? Somebody can't help you if they don't know what they're trying to help you with.
They don't trust that you're being honest.
Right. So, I've had plenty of conversations with patients, subordinates, coworkers, peers, and they're like, well, I'm not getting the help, or I'm not getting what I need, or I don't. And I'm like, well, what do you need? It's a simple question. Like, what do you need to get better? Or to feel better, or to feel appreciated, or to feel loved, or whatever it may be. And they don't know.
I don't know.
Or I don't know. Or they tell you, and then like you build the trust. Okay, now I know how I can help you.
And then you follow up with it. Yeah.
It's just like, it's just like a relationship with a woman, right? Hold on. And you guys argue, and we argue back and forth, and you're in this relationship, or a man, or woman, whatever.
You're good.
But it's this sense of like, I'm mad. You should know why I'm mad, or like I'm hurt. You should know why I'm hurt. You should know how to fix this. No, I don't know. Like you have to have trust to tell me, so I can try to help you the correct way.
That comes with like 20 years of marriage.
That comes in any relationship of just maturity.
No, sorry. I mean, no. I meant like,
I'm messing with you, Coop.
I'll know what's wrong with you after 20 years of marriage and spending every minute with you.
I don't know. My grandparents have been married for almost 50 years, and they still know what's wrong with each other.
Touche. Yeah. Maybe not trying to figure that out is why they're still married.
There you go. Just let it be.
Yeah.
You're never going to change. But I think that's where that trust comes from. It's just like we have to know what that person help, what kind of help that person needs. Because, anybody that comes into this realm of inpatient treatment or outpatient where Darren's at, we know that they're there for substances. Okay, like that's the given. That's why you're in this building. In this building for co-occurring, same out, in Bellevue. But it's like, what else is going on? Because, yeah, you may say, like, hey, yeah, I'm addicted to heroin, or I'm addicted to meth, or I'm addicted to alcohol. And, yes, I have depression. Okay, but I need to know, like, everything. And I need you to trust me when you tell me this so that I can help fix this. Because you got to think of the majority of the population that we work with, for lack of a better term, they've been fucked over a whole bunch. And so you're telling an addict or somebody trying to get help, trust me, I know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, I know how to help you. And the last time they probably put trust in somebody, they got burned super bad.
Or the last 20 times.
Or the last 20 times.
Yeah.
Or 50 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the big role of building trust and helping with isolation, for me, well, one of the methods for me is just letting somebody know that I'm there for them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm willing to work as hard as they are. I won't work harder than they will, but I'm willing to work as hard as you will, and that I try to be as authentic as possible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm authentic. I'm okay with self-disclosure if it's got the right motive, and I'm willing to be. I like to let clients see me be human. I let them see me screw up and own it. I've made amends to clients before, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
When they ask me questions, I don't get guarded and turn it around. Like, this is somebody who's trying to see if I'm willing to do the same work I'm asking them to do, right?
Yeah.
I need to be able to be willing to do that stuff as well, or to let them know, like, to meet them where they're at, and not, if they've got ambivalence or if they're in full on denial and that stuff. I'm saying, great, that's fine.
Let's figure it out.
Maybe you're right, but my job as a counselor is to open as many windows of thought as I can for you to look through, so you can make your decisions based on that stuff rather than just on what you've been through yourself or what I think I know, right? And so we're in this together, and I want us to be able to,
And you're in the
go through
driver's
stuff.
seat.
Right, you're in the driver's seat. I'm here to facilitate. I'm just here to open some windows for you to look through, and I let them, and I don't judge them for that. I don't make them feel shame. I don't make them, any of that stuff. And I think that when they're able to garner a little bit of trust, then they're more willing to disclose things and not, hide so much, when they don't feel like they're going to be judged, when they don't feel like they're going to be, there's something wrong, when I can normalize for somebody, like, this is a normal thing to think and to feel for any of us,
For sure.
Yeah.
You just did the whole addressing isolation.
Yeah. Darren, you have this knack to just like
Run through our
talk
questions.
about exactly what we're about to bring up and ask about. So there is that line, though. You talked about self-disclosure, right? When it serves a purpose, but there is that line where you have to have a boundary, right? So if a patient calls you at 2 a.m. and somehow got your cell phone number, and then they're trying to say, well, I can't trust you if you're not going to answer my phone calls, right? And that's a ridiculous example, but I'm sure it's happened before.
It's happened.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I've never had one get a hold of my number, but I've had one
Facebook.
like shoot me a Facebook Messenger real quick, and I just shoot because it's written and there's a record of it. I can say, hey, just so you know, we can't.
Yeah. So, but how do we continue to hold that trust? And maybe that patient, right? They might need some other more serious mental health treatment.
Yeah. Well,
maybe.
Well, I think the big thing is us as professionals within this field. A large part, and kind of Darren said this, is like we are modeling prosocial behavior, right? This idea of when we make mistakes, we're owning up our mistakes. We're practicing healthy communication. We're engaging in healthy boundaries. We're addressing issues as they come up. So when we're addressing this, like it starts, right? My belief is it starts with us as counselors and clinicians and therapists to show our patients and our clients, like, this is how you do it. Okay. Like the idea of self-disclosure, like I agree with Darren, like when it is appropriate, when it is going to be a therapeutic way, 100% do it. And not every counselor out there is comfortable with self-disclosure. There's a lot of counselors that will not disclose any part of their personal lives, and that's okay. I'm kind of in the realm of like I use my story as a way to motivate and kind of build rapport with people so that they don't look at me because I'm not an addict and I'm not in recovery, so they don't look at me and be like,
you don't know what you're talking about.
It's dipshit. Right? And I'm like, well, yeah, I may not be an addict, but like I come from a line of addicts and my parents were both addicts and this is how I was raised. And so I think when you start modeling those prosocial behaviors, and you don't have to be a pro at it in your own personal life by any means, but when you're engaging with these people on a one-on-one basis or within the milieu, you have to be able to be healthy in the way that you come across.
Yeah, and that includes the boundaries.
Yeah, and I think it's important for them to know that they're being heard.
Yeah.
That I'm not talking at them, that I've listened to what they've said, and I'll let them know, like, I hear what this is what I hear you saying. I think anybody anywhere wants to know that they're being heard, right, and at least respected. And then again, followed with non-judgment and some positive, motivational interviewing, obviously, and things like that. Ways of like, I want to help you find your answers for yourself, right? I do have knowledge and training to be able to help you with some of this stuff. So hopefully that'll, come into the forefront of your thoughts when you're deciding whether to listen to me or not.
Yeah. Well, and that brings that 5-year-old a little more to the surface, right? Being maybe not the 5-year-old, but the real true person being willing to actually listen. Like, oh, you're not going to tell me what to do. You're actually trying to hear what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. When I hear what they're saying, then and from a motivational interviewing aspect, I want to just ask questions. Yeah. I do a lot of asking questions. I think a lot of times we have the answers. We just don't want to hear them. We're hoping somebody else will say, no, that's totally wrong. You do whatever the hell you want.
No, for sure.
That'll totally work for you. Nobody else, but I think it'll work for you. But I don't poo-poo whatever their idea is. I'll just give them some other options to look at.
Yeah. So, and kind of just, I don't want to end on a negative note. We always end on kind of last words, but kind of last bullet point in the topic is to know when to adjust and when it isn't working. Like when you might be being played and they're really just kind of stringing you along. And that trust building that you think you're doing is they're totally trying to play a game.
Yeah.
Because in this population, that is an unavoidable thing that happens, right?
Certainly, and it's an important reason why we have staffings. Having staffings where we talk about these things with my peers, because I can be duped. I can be, this guy's got my number. He's just got me. I just believe everything he says.
Yes, and it's so hard because I think as individual counselors, I've experienced where like I will have a client. And I like, damn, I like this client. It's like, this is a good dude. And like, he just needs a fair shake. And like, I'm like, I don't know what it is about this kid or this woman or whatever, if it's countertransference or whatever it may be. But like, yeah, like I just know, like I just need to give this person that one little chance and they're going to be better. And then like I'll take it to staffing and they're like, no, they're full of shit. They were in group just talking about like how they were going to do this and do that. And I'm like, that's not what they said in their individual. They said they were going to be, amazing and do sober living and PHP and they were never going to use heroin again.
Yeah.
Sorry, fuck. I just want to see them healthy.
Yep.
But and the idea of
staffing's a huge tool, instrument in terms of that kind of stuff, and be able to, because I need my peers as well, because otherwise I can't just be stuck with this one thing too.
You can't isolate,
right?
Yeah.
And I have to and I have to verbalize how I'm feeling about a lot of that stuff as well. I have to, again, be willing to do the same work in my own life that I'm wanting my clients to do in theirs.
Totally. All right. Well, you kind of the drill. You've done one of these before. So anything you want to leave anybody with that might be isolating out there at home, or any clinicians that might be out there isolating, anything like that? Any last words?
The voice in your head is lying. Bounce it off at least 2 other people first.
I like it.
Because in here, I have incredible ideas.
Everything sounds amazing.
I have
up here,
genius ideas.
I'm a millionaire
But
inside.
sometimes when I say it out loud, that was kind of my sponsor's go-to. He was like, I just want to know, did that sound the same coming out as it did when it was wrapping around inside?
It's so true.
No,
I'm really glad my sponsor never asked me that to my face.
I use it on my sponsees, and they love to throw that my shit back at me now.
Nice.
Like, I just want to know, Darren. It's like, oh God, here it comes. Yeah. Those are good moments.
I'm the same way. I always look at my patients. Like, I'll be teaching groups, and I'm like, everything sounds fucking brilliant in your head. Say it out loud, please. And they say it out loud, and they're like, yeah,
God damn it.
That didn't sound too great.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you got it. If you're isolating, go tell 2 people what you're isolating about. Get those ideas out in the open. Please like and subscribe and share. Tell 1 person you think might get value out of this episode. Guys, this has been Noah North. We're talking about the miracles of recovery and tools used to achieve them. Thanks.
If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, please call 208-999-4064. The views and opinions expressed in No Way But North do not reflect those of North Point Recovery or any other institution or organization.